Hello and welcome. In today's video I'm going to be talking you through my first 6 weeks of the 75 Hard Challenge, how I have found it, what my results and stats are so far, and sharing with you my before and during, because I've not finished yet, but my before and during progress pictures. So what is the 75 Hard Challenge? What it is not a diet or a weight loss plan, but the 75 Challenge is a mental toughness challenge. So for 75 days, you have to drink a gallon of water every single day. You have to do 2 45-minute workouts, and one of those workouts has to be outside. You've got to stick to some sort of diet. That doesn't have to be, bless you Daisy, that doesn't have to be a weight loss diet, but you can't have any cheat meals. You can't have any alcohol. You're gonna read 10 pages of a non-fiction book, an actual book rather than an audiobook, every single day. And you've got to take a progress picture every day. So I shared a video at the start of this year setting out my health goals for this year. So I turned 40 in July of this year. During my 30s, I have had 3 children in close succession, and I really wanted to feel fitter, healthier and happier, and also to lose some weight before my 40th. So in January of last year, I had done a lot of research about the 75 Hard Challenge. I'd watched a lot of YouTube videos, including videos like this one that I'm making now, and I was all set to start the 75 Hard Challenge. I had downloaded the app, and then I found that I was pregnant with Miss Daisy here, which I was super excited about, and so blessed to have had this pregnancy and third baby, but obviously that put paid to starting the 75 Hard Challenge. So for me, the first 3 months of having a baby, those newborn days are by far the hardest, and there was absolutely no question of me starting any kind of health and fitness plan then. I just wanted to concentrate on building that bond with my baby, trying to get as much sleep as possible, and concentrate on getting breastfeeding established. So that is what I did. I did not lose any weight in those first 3 months, but come the 1st of January this year, I was ready to start the 75 Hard Challenge and kick my health and fitness goals into action. So I'm going to share with you my before images, and I'm being super vulnerable here, and I wouldn't ordinarily share anything like this with anyone, but I think that it is really important that we see what a body looks like after 3 pregnancies, what a kind of normal body looks like after 3 pregnancies. I mean, obviously everyone's body is normal, but I think too often we're bombarded with images online of models and actresses whose job it is to look a particular way, and who have come out the other end of pregnancies seemingly relatively unscathed. And I wanted to share my normal with you, my reality with you, and what I am doing to help kind of shape my fitness future, if you like. So please be kind. I have carried 3 pretty reasonably sized babies and put on, you know, a considerable amount of weight, I think, during my pregnancies, particularly my first pregnancy. So my poor tummy has taken a bit of a battering, and then I will be sharing with you how I found the challenge, the first 6 weeks of the challenge, and also my progress footage, so how I am looking now and my stats. So what weight I have lost during the first 6 weeks of this challenge. As I said, this challenge is not about weight loss, but I do have weight loss goals. I really liked that this challenge was kind of an all-round health and fitness challenge and didn't concentrate on weight loss, because my goals, my health and fitness goals, are not just about weight loss. So how I found the challenge so far. So drinking a gallon of water a day might seem like a lot to some people, but if you are a breastfeeding mum, then that is pretty doable. I get super thirsty feeding babies, and I needed to drink a lot of water anyway. But what I would say is I wasn't really drinking water so much. I was drinking squash or cordial. So I switched to drinking water as part of the 75 Hard Challenge. I found, surprisingly, it was much easier to drink a gallon of water than it was to drink a lot of squash. So I was quite surprised by that, because I thought drinking squash made it easier to drink the fluids that I needed to drink, and that was actually not the case at all. Drinking water was much easier. So tick, gallon of water, super easy in my opinion. Now reading 10 pages of a non-fiction book, again, I actually found this a lot easier than I thought I would. Now, I love reading and I've always read a lot, but since having children, I haven't read very much, and the books that I have read since having children have all been like child-related books. So there were a few books that I really wanted to read that were on my list to read, so I bought those. One thing I did find was it was hard to read a paperback book, for me anyway, and that was one of the kind of rules of the challenge, was you didn't listen to an audio book, but you read a proper kind of solid book and not like a Kindle version of a book. So I did buy myself a paperback book that I had wanted to read. I found it difficult to slot that into the day with a small baby, so I did end up buying a couple of books that I wanted to read in Kindle format, and I'm just gonna let myself have that kind of bend of the rules. I don't care what anyone says, because as a kind of breastfeeding mom, I found that so much easier that when I'm feeding the baby, I could read a Kindle book, but I couldn't hold a paperback book very easily and hold a baby. And when a baby's this small, you generally hold them a lot of the time, right? So I'm gonna let myself have that one. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed getting back to reading, and I've got through a couple of books and started on a third book in that 6-week period. So tick tick, big success. So sticking to a diet. Now, the 75 hard challenge is not a weight loss challenge, and there is no prescribed diet, and you don't need to follow a weight loss diet. Now, as I said, I'm breastfeeding and I need to be really careful to make sure that I am consuming enough calories to sustain me and produce enough breast milk for my baby. I can't lose drastic amounts of weight or lose weight quickly, otherwise that would affect my milk supply. So another reason not to start any kind of weight loss plan in the newborn stages of having a baby if you are breastfeeding. But my milk supply had regulated, so I was confident that I could start to slowly lose weight, but I did very much want to slowly lose weight, lose it in a careful way, not affect my milk supply. I'm also very anti-diets. Like, I don't think diets work. I've done a lot of diets in the past. I've done Atkins, I've done Dukan, I have done Slimming Well, and I don't want to do anything like that ever again. I think that they, certainly for me, really affect my view of myself, my view of food, and are just very negative for me. So what I did was aim for a kind of clean eating diet, if you like. So I wanted to eat as much kind of homemade food, clean food as possible, and reduce the amount of processed food that I was having. For me, no cheat meals meant not having takeaways and takeouts and fast food. On the whole, I was making a lot more food from scratch. So I found that required the most amount of kind of prep and thought. I needed to write out each week a meal plan, which I generally do anyway. Make sure I had enough ingredients in to make the food that I wanted, to plan that out. Make sure I wasn't aiming to make food that was too complicated or unrealistic for having a baby and 2 small boys. And unsurprisingly, I felt so much better for eating a better diet, and a lot of the bloating that I have been suffering with went within a couple of days really, and I could see kind of instantly in my face particularly that it had sort of slimmed down, the bloating had gone down, and I felt tons better, a lot more, I want to say a lot more energetic. I didn't feel like super energetic. I had a newborn at the end of the day. So I had a small baby. So no alcohol. I found this pretty easy. I don't drink masses. I do like a glass of wine. I don't drink masses. I have had some wine over Christmas, and I didn't feel like I needed a break from alcohol because I'd had a long break from alcohol during pregnancy. So I found this pretty easy. 6 weeks, no alcohol, fine. I got some alcohol-free beers in, and if ever I did fancy a drink, I would have one of those. So taking a progress pic every day. I did this, but I struggled to see the point of this, like every day. I couldn't see a difference from day to day. I don't understand this one, I have to say. I did it. I found it easier to do because I got the 75 Hard app, and at the end of the day that reminds you, and quite often I'd be like, oh quick, I've got to take a progress pic. So yes, I took progress pictures. I don't really understand why I was taking them every day. I felt like taking them every week would have sufficed, but there we go. Now, the 2 rounds of 45 minutes of exercise. This was by far the hardest, and I'm assuming that it is the hardest element of the challenge for most people. So one of the exercise lots has to be outside. So I thought that might be the hardest, and certainly from the videos I had seen from other people, they were all saying like going outside in all weathers to exercise was the hardest bit. I actually did not find that the hardest, and I generally found like going outside to exercise wasn't too hard. Now, you don't have to go out running for 45 minutes, and for me, having just like recently had a baby and my fitness levels were like on the floor, so I aimed to walk for that 45-minute kind of outside exercise. And I generally take my 4-year-old to school and we walk to school. That's a 10-minute walk. What I was doing and got in the habit of doing and worked really well for me was I would drop him at school and then I would continue to walk a much longer route home. I found that if I didn't do my outside exercise early in the day, then it became harder to do it. Like if I got toward the end of the day and I hadn't done my outside exercise, that was really tough. So I did have a couple of nights where I went for a walk kind of after the kids were in bed, and that wasn't the easiest. Like I didn't feel very safe walking in the evenings when it was dark. So we were talking about January and then early February, so it was pretty dark come evening. So then I ended up, if I'd missed doing the outside exercise earlier in the day, then I ended up kind of jogging on the spot or walking on the spot outside the back door. My husband did join me once for that, which is super sweet of him, and we were just kind of chatting outside, and that was really nice. Yeah, that wasn't the hardest bit, doing the outside exercise, but doing 2 lots of 45-minute exercise, that was the killer for me. I found that really hard. Like I could do 1 lot and then I would get to the end of the day, maybe I'd done my outside exercise, maybe I'd gone for my long walk, and then I hadn't done any more exercise because, you know, baby, I'm sitting down to feed a baby, I'm doing the school run, before you know it, it's time to pick up from school again. So yeah, I found that really hard. And again, I had plenty of evenings where I was just like marching on the spot for 45 minutes at the kitchen island while I was like editing a video or doing some work. So during this challenge, I found a new kind of like fitness guru on YouTube. I started watching Grow with Joe's videos and I really liked her workouts. Her workouts were more energetic, more high impact. So I aimed to do a couple of her workouts each week. And then I had previously been following Lucy Wyndham-Reed, and she does some walking exercise workouts. So I aimed to do 1 or 2 of her workouts a week, and then for the rest of the workouts I was doing another walk or something not quite so energetic. I felt lots better for the exercise, but I'm going to be honest here, this is where I failed the challenge. So yes, during the first 6 weeks of 75 hard, I failed. So my kids got sick. Well, they got like 1 round of illnesses after another, as they do. And I started to find it really hard. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was up all hours with the baby. The boys were up in the night. My husband generally goes into them. Neither of us were sleeping. Everyone was feeling really low and run down and grouchy. And then I had a couple of days where I missed a second workout, and I was telling myself like it was okay. I hadn't really failed the challenge, but if I'm honest, you know, I failed the challenge. So I carried on and I did my best. I picked myself up and did as much as I could of the challenge. So throughout the 6 weeks, I mostly stuck to the challenge every day. But I did have a couple of days where I failed to get that second workout in. So a lesson here, I guess, is that if you have 3 children under the age of 5, including a baby, it might be pretty hard to stick to this. So coming to the stats, because that's what we're all here for, let's face it. At the start of this challenge, on the 1st of January, I weighed 180.4 pounds. I lost just shy of 12 pounds, so I lost 11.8 pounds during the 6-week period. So that is a reasonable weight loss. I think anyone who is breastfeeding shouldn't really be aiming to lose more than a couple of pounds a week. So my weight loss even now is just under 2 pounds a week, which for me definitely suited me and what I was aiming for. But I think the real shocker for me was when making this video and I compared my before footage to my progress footage, and I could not believe the difference in my stomach particularly, but also in my face, which I think had really slimmed down. But my stomach, where I had like a real like overhang stomach, and I still have it, right? This is progress for me. This isn't over. I'm not where I want to be, but in 6 weeks, I was blown away by the difference. Now just recently I went to a kids party for my son, and a couple of the mums who who don't know me really well. They've only known me for a few months, but in that time they've obviously seen me coming and going from the school run, and they came up to me and were complimenting me on how I looked, and it was so nice to hear, because when you are losing weight in a slow way over a period of time, you don't maybe see it as much yourself, and there, you know, like I say, I don't understand the point of taking a progress picture every day, but I completely get why you'd want to take a progress picture every week, and why you should take progress pictures to look back on, and then you can just see how far you had come. So please be kind. This is progress. Like I said, I'm not finished yet, and whilst I have technically failed the 75 hard challenge, I am going to be continuing to try. Excuse me. Do you want milk? So excuse me while I feed baby. I am going to be continuing to try to meet the 75 challenge, trying to get the exercise in, sticking with the food plan, sticking with the water, sticking with the books, because I've really enjoyed that, and I think this is really working for me. So it's a reasonable aim. I'm not always going to be able to do 2 lots of 45-minute exercise per day, right? I have established that is quite hard with small children, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who manage it with small children, with small babies. I think I need to be reasonable, and I can't be too hard on myself. I have a lot on right now, and I have a lot of things I want to achieve and a lot to squeeze into the day. I'm really pleased with it. I would recommend it 100% to anyone who wants a healthier way of kind of living. This is a bit of an all-rounder for me. You know, I didn't want something that was just concentrated on losing weight. I wanted something that would improve my overall health and fitness, and I think this does. So I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it inspiring and motivational. Please give me a like if you did, and consider subscribing for more content from me. I will be sharing my progress as I go along my journey. My aim is to get to 140 pounds. So as I said, I started at 180 pounds. 140 pounds is reasonable, I think, for me. I'm 5'7", so we will see how I go. I will be continuing to document it, as I think that will help keep me on track. So if you're interested to see how I go, what kind of food I'm eating, I've been sharing some of my recipes in my short videos, and I will be making a couple of videos just setting out the sort of typical couple of days of eating for me. If you are interested, let me know. If there is anything else that you want to know about 75 hard, or what I am doing to kind of meet my health and fitness goals, then let me know. Drop me a comment. What are your health and fitness goals for this coming year? I'd be really interested to hear from you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Here's Mr. Bun Bun. I don't want to run one. Okay.